So over the years I've gone through various iterations of screens for my MacBook. I've had dual Thunderbolt displays, I've had dual 4K displays, and for the last 6 months I've been using this Dell 38-inch curved ultra-wide monitor as my daily driver. Here are my thoughts. Now the Dell U3818DW is one of a very small selection of screens that have direct USB-C inputs to it. Now one of the things I've always struggled in trying to find a replacement monitor for my 27-inch Thunderbolt displays has been that docking ability. The ability to dock and have your USB, your Ethernet, your Thunderbolt, everything on the back of the screens. Unfortunately this doesn't help solve those. I'm still on the look for something like that, but it certainly goes some way towards that goal. Firstly, the tech specs. This is a 37.5 curved ultra-wide screen. It runs at 3840 by 1600 on a 21:9 ratio with an 8 millisecond response time. So it's a pretty good monitor. It's got great color accuracy. It also has 9-watt stereo speakers built in, which not many other screens did have when I was looking around. Connectivity wise, it's got 2 HDMI ports, a display port, 2 USB upstreams, 2 USB downstreams, and that USB-C port that charges as well. First impressions? Damn, it's pretty big. Coming from 2 separate 27-inch screens, it feels a lot larger than two 27 inches. And it can go bigger. I think LG make a 49-inch ultra-wide, but from my research, you have to have a very, very deep desk because the curve on it means you can't have a shallow desk, and it just seems a bit too big for me. We'll see, I might get bored of this one and try the 49-inch, but yeah, we'll see from there. But the size of the 38-inch, firstly, it means it can sit very nicely on the desk, regardless of what size. It's not too deep whatsoever. I've ended up using a Visa mount on mine. I had where I've had dual screen mounts before. I didn't use the stand. I like having a Visa mount because it lifts the screen off the desk, gives you all that desk space underneath to put all my Star Wars toys and my iPad and those kind of things, so it just really gives you that extra space on the desk. In fact, because it's a single curved ultra-wide screen, it actually feels like you get 3 monitors worth because you don't lose the gap down the middle, the bezels down the middle. So at the moment I've just loaded that up. I've got my Safari window, I've got Chrome, I've got Microsoft Teams, I've got my Outlook client, my reminders, my calendar, my soft phone, my messages, and even then I've still got space to put things. And if that was just 2 27-inch screens, what I would likely do is I would have a web browser fully maximised on one, and I'd have my email client on the other. So you wouldn't be able to see any of that stuff unless you were flicking between applications or flicking between screens. The nice thing with the Macs is you can flick between multiple monitors, so you can just see how that looks. But you don't really need it with an ultra wide because you can fit everything on that one screen. Fantastic when you're editing videos, when we're doing these kind of things, and you're just a lot more aware of what's going on because you don't have that. The instant messaging app isn't hidden away in the corner somewhere, bouncing around or flashing that something's happening. It's just there, so if someone sends a message, it's there straight away. You just go into the application and you're straight into it. So just that extra screen real estate, even though it might be physically smaller, the fact you're not getting that bezel down the middle, you can actually use that center part of your screen to do something, for a program, for a window of some form, whereas you wouldn't be able to do that on a dual screen setup. Now, yes, there are a few quirks to this. You have the volume buttons on your Mac keyboard don't do anything. You have to control it from the actual screen's controls itself. The brightness, again, doesn't control the screen's brightness, it controls your MacBook's brightness. But from looking at reviews of other monitors, it's all pretty much standard. This seems to be the common thing for any form of external USB-C monitor. Another not so good point is that because of the curved nature of the screen, if you have any bright light coming from behind you, then that really wipes out half the screen. Another common point I come across when looking at these screens, particularly with the USB-C charging, is that they don't have enough power to charge a MacBook. They'll hold the charger where it is, but they won't actually charge and increase the charge on the MacBook. Happy to say that I don't have any issues whatsoever. I plug in on this one. Now I've got a 15-inch 2017 MacBook Pro, and it doesn't have any issues charging it whatsoever. Even when I'm running things like Premiere, or I'm running, as I normally do, with about 20 or 30 programs and windows open at any one time, it handles it fine, still charges everything, and I still leave the office with a full charge every day. Now price-wise, these retail about £1,000. Now if you're really clever, you can actually find them for about £600. But if you're really careful, you can find these for about £650 from like seconds websites where they'll have a scratch on the stand, which is where this one came from. This had a scratch on the stand. I don't use a stand, so I don't care. But you can get them almost half price, which is fantastic. So yes, they are pretty expensive, but if you're looking at buying two decent quality 27-inch 4K displays, for example, they're probably going to set you back £600 or £700 anyway for the pair. So it's not too much extra you're paying, but you get so much more in terms of screen real estate. And certainly for me, I just wouldn't ever switch back now. This is it for me. So much so we've actually swapped out all the screens in our office to, I think we went 34-inch ultra-wides because most of the guys here didn't need USB-C inputs on them. It's just so nice not having to flick back and forth between windows and screens all the time. So if you've already switched to an ultra-wide, let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts? What are the pros? What are the cons? Or if you're thinking of switching but aren't quite sure whether you should or not, maybe leave a comment below on why you haven't switched yet or what barriers you found to switching. Thanks again for watching. As always, click on the like button if you did, subscribe if you're not already, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.